the philosophy for the new world. So it turns out my life has led me to create the philosophy for the new world so that you could live a really wonderful life. That's obviously the road that I decided to take. I didn't know I was going to do that. You don't know what your life path is going to unveil for you until you start living it as well. But it's always something, and it always shows up in front of you, and then you have to decide whether or not you're going to move there. And what I've discovered through this philosophy is that you were born with this great purpose and value that you were meant to bring to the world. And my life was going through so many things so that I could bring in this philosophy to provide it for you as the world was changing. I wouldn't have known that. You didn't know it either. We couldn't have imagined the world that we are existing in now. We're wondering what happened. Well, Wilhelm began to show me, well, everything is energetic. Your energy, the way that you control your life, your consciousness is all of that. But then there are other aspects that were left out, so to speak, of our previous philosophies. And that was the consideration of all people and how they may have been impacted by their histories, by their generational history and their traumas and all the things that they've moved through. And so I was given to work to help people move through that and understand it, because that's exactly what I did. And so I started to see at some point many years ago the world was changing, and so I had something that could help. But understanding and accepting that were two different things. And it's going to be the same for you. That's the process that we all move through. It's a process of us using our consciousness to accept who we are. You were born into the world as a soul. That means you are equal to every single person that ever existed. And then you decide how much you're going to develop of the potential that was given you. And what was given me was a way for you to develop your potential. That's what happened, and I had to move through it. Now, what happens is you heal when this happens. And so when I was told that I had this work, it was like because the world was going to be moving through some changes and a new philosophy was needed. And that's why it came through me. And does it work? Well, it healed me. And that's what happens with anyone who would use it. You become whole again. And what we're attempting to do in the world is have the world become whole. So can't have that happen unless we do that, meaning owning what you came to do. And it can sometimes take a while, which it did for me. And again, I didn't know that I had this. You don't know what's there either. This is why every human will come into the world and we have to go through this process of self-discovery. But what we do is we use things that came before. Because information is available, we just decide which we're going to incorporate into ourselves and then begin to use it. And so what happened for me is that Wilhelm said, they've just been feeding me information for so many years, 36 years as I've been doing this, and it's turned into a philosophy that can change your life, transform your life, and also eventually our world. Because you become this transformed person and you pass it on to others. That's how this works. But let me give you some examples, because we can sometimes sit in our lives now, or the world. We're looking at the world and we're thinking, what is happening? Where is it going to go? Not understanding that we've moved through changes before. And every time we go through a huge change in our evolution, people come up with new things because there was a call for it. I was directed to answer that call, and I didn't want to. I will be quite honest. I hid from it for so long. You've probably hidden from that big dream that you wanted to do, whatever it might be. Every single person does it. Doesn't matter how much you have, none of that. Money, none of that matters, because you're seeing people who have tons of money and they're still doing the next thing. Same thing is for you. But you have to have a way to uncover and develop what's within you. And that's what my 74 years of life has developed. But let me give you some other examples so you understand. I love doing research and giving you information because we have to kind of learn history a little bit so that we can kind of believe things about what is possible. And I'm telling you, everything is possible, especially now. And so these are some of the people. I've shared this, but I'll leave this in the video because it's just fascinating to see the history and how humans began to think about things and how we changed over time. And each person came in and brought something new. You brought something new as well. And so all of these folks are just allowing you to use your brain and all the available wisdom that has been implanted within you as well to bring something new into the world. And if more of us do that, we wouldn't see our lives the way they are now, and we wouldn't see the world the way it is. And it took me so long to think about all of this that could I have done this? I'm saying this because you have the same thing. There's something you were given, you might think it's too big or it's not you, because we all move through that imposter syndrome thing. And that doesn't, no one is an imposter. It just, we're just doing something to get there, to believe in ourselves. And you can see all of these people came before to show us how to do that. And then there was accumulation of gathered wisdom and knowledge that we just pass on to one another. Now, unfortunately, sometimes we pass on stuff that doesn't serve us. And that's what's going on in our world right now. And so it depends on how many of us decide to move to a higher state of consciousness and own who we are, because that's the only way you can do it, is by becoming your authentic self. And so, but you'll see that all of these, and I started looking at this and I said, wow, well, the information that came through Wilhelm is so much in all of this. I couldn't have known that, just like you don't know what's within you. But I do know that I have it now. And I do know that it works because it healed me and so many others. And I also know that at this point I have to finish, just like you do. We're at a place in the world where doing what you came to the world to do, because you have something, is going to cause such great change, not only in your life, but in the world. So, the philosophy. Wilhelm's teachings, channeled by Roger Burnley, emphasize personal transformation, self-acceptance, and global consciousness shifts leading to world peace. Now, I could have never said those words to you before, but I know that they're true, because the only thing that we see happening in our world is where some people have thought that they had more power than you. And that's why you haven't become the empowered person you could be. And so whole groups of people have felt that. And so it was said, we needed a new philosophy, and I received it. Everyone's not going to do it. I'm going to finish it, and I'm opening it up for everyone who wants to reach the highest level of success that they could possibly achieve, because I know you can do it. I can see beyond your barriers, your boundaries, and I would never have done that years ago, talk about this intuitive sense in my channeling or any of that, because it was uncomfortable. But now I can see it very clearly. So I know that you have something to bring to this world. It just may take some time for you to move through everything that you've told yourself of why you couldn't do it, who you weren't, all of that stuff. And a lot of people are moving through that right now, because we're moving through what you can think of as a mass ascension. Each person is trying to get to a higher state of understanding, and then others aren't. We have to accept that. So now it becomes your job to love yourself and to do what you came to do. But what I have is a philosophy which I put into my program, your last development program, which now I'm taking huge. And I'm going to partner with other people when they understand the value of what I have created. I didn't know it at first, but now I'm going to give it to everyone. I want people to live the kind of lives that they should have. You have a purpose, and when you own that, you start to have the career, you have the relationships, you love yourself, you move through your trauma, you do all of those things, and you heal. And I know that because that's what this work has done. So I invite you to look at it, but I want you to know that no matter what you're seeing in your life or the world, you're here for a reason. Others may not tell you that, but I'm going to tell you, I know that for sure. And it took me so many years before I could own it, so I understand what might be occurring for you. But the other thing that I know for sure, and this is a line that I take from Carl Jung, him sitting in an interview one time, and they asked him, do you believe this? And he thought about it for a while. And then he finally answered. He said, I used to believe. Now I know. And that's what I know. I know that you have value and worth and beauty within you, and all you have to do is develop it, and you will live this great life. And I know that this work will do it for you, and I'm grateful that I could bring it to the world, because that leaves a legacy that I know I made a difference and left the world better than what I found it. And so that's what you can do as well. Thank you so much for being here. Please check out everything. I'll always give you more information. Take care.